Welcome back, everyone. I believe, welcome back. We are up and live and ready to start wrapping up what has been quite an insightful second day of the LKDF forum for this year. I just want to remind you, though, although the program, of course, program will be coming to an end for today, but at any time while the event is still running, and that does include tomorrow, of course, you can visit the Expo Center, the Networking Center. Those facilities will be open and available for you at any time. Of course, today's organizers were UNIDO and Sida, and therefore it is only right that they do give us a farewell and engage us in their closing remarks. As you can see, the speakers from both organizations up on your screen. I do have AtKisson from Sida, as well as Bernardo Calzadilla-Sarmiento, who is joining us from UNIDO. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. I just want to ask, is there any movement or any noise where the both of you are? We are hearing a bit of echo.
A little bit of an echo here, I hear as well, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. We can mute our mics when we're not talking, I think.
Kindly do so, yeah, kindly do so. Mute your mics if you're not talking. Remember to unmute your mic when you are talking, of course. And I'd like to kick off the session by asking the both of you about your partnership and what the reason was to perhaps develop the LKDF forum and also implement this new market systems development approach that we have heard about. And Alan, if I can kick off that conversation.
Sure. Well, you know, market systems development is still new in the world of development cooperation, but it's not brand new. We're talking about version 2.0 now, so we've learned quite a lot already, and we've been working with UNIDO for quite a long time now. You know, for us at Sida, a systems perspective is really essential. The market systems development approach makes it possible to bring together multiple actors and take a very hard analytical look at why markets aren't developing or are failing, and essentially try to fill in the blanks in a system that isn't properly constituted yet or has problems of various kinds. And our aim is in this partnership with UNIDO is to be as catalytic as possible. We support these public-private development partnerships, and we have quite a while. I had the opportunity, in fact, last year. It's hard to remember that once upon a time we all traveled quite a lot in this work, and it wasn't so very long ago, but it seems like a distant memory, but a very pleasant one. Going to Addis Ababa and having the opportunity to visit the Salam Technical and Vocational College, where we have a project together with UNIDO that's involving Volvo and involves building a training center, or not building, but supporting a training center where the three parties work together and make it possible for young people, with an emphasis on young women, to learn how to operate and repair heavy machinery. Project's got this amazing name, which I always have to look at a piece of paper to remember. Heavy Duty Equipment and Commercial Vehicles Academy, and that makes the acronym sort of unpronounceable. HIDECO, I think, is what they say. But it was very inspiring to be there and to see how it works in practice at that particular location. We have several, both with UNIDO and others, but that general approach of taking a systems view, finding the different pieces of the market that need to be put in place or need to be strengthened. It takes time, it takes effort, but it produces great results for poverty alleviation and job creation. So that's why we're there.
All right, Bernardo, Ellen has given us a quite a detailed explanation as to why Sida is at the table of partnership. Why is UNIDO on the opposite side?
So first of all, let me thank everybody for the participation. We had wonderful discussions, very stimulating food for thought throughout this event. LKDF has been a big success, and we continue to further develop it. One of the big achievements of the facility was the identification of concrete ways to work with the private sector on education and skills in development process. And also, we have been seeing that this initiative, including this forum, is a very good example of that, to work with the private sector. The market system development approach is important as a way to achieve greater impact, first of all. It is important to create change, but to reach the most needful and to ensure sustainability. Since one of these objectives is that we promote projects, it is very important that skills development is demand-oriented, which is a good way that we can have a successful partnership with the private sector.
As I just ask the final question for this concluding remarks section, I mean, for the entire day, we have learned about the investment opportunities, the new investment opportunities to develop green skills. Your message to the international community, the donor community to be specific, the social investors also, and the private sectors that might be interested in jumping on board and also playing a role in developing these new skills. What would your message to these stakeholders be? Remember to unmute. Remember to unmute.
Of course, I forgot to unmute. What I wanted to say was unmuting is essential. No, partnership is essential. Partnership and cooperation is essential. That we all know, and this is, of course, widely acknowledged, that the challenges that we face for the realization of the 2030 agenda and poverty alleviation, job creation, and distressed economies is not something that one aid agency or even many aid agencies can solve by themselves. It's not a problem that UNIDO can solve by itself. It's a problem that the private sector, aid agencies, other actors, institutions need to come together to work on. At Sida, one of the things that we're also doing is talking a lot now to the investment community to make them even more aware of the opportunity that exists, because these things all have to be not just win-win, but win-win-win. And that's not a platitude. They have to be designed from the ground up, that investors, the social actors on the ground, and agencies like ours that represent the taxpayers of the Swedish taxpayers feel like wonderful results have been achieved, and they are when they work when people work together. So I can't stress that enough. So we're also, while working with UNIDO and other partners on these projects, we're also working, for example, with the UN Secretary General and supporting his effort to bring investors together at the top level to shift the investment climate so that people see the opportunity and need for moving capital into these systems, so that wonderful initiatives like these LKDF processes can lead to and provide input to new jobs, real businesses, and a more sustainable and green economy going forward. It's absolutely essential. As Bernardo was saying, we're in the midst of a global transformation where everything has to become green and partly digital. So without these processes and without everybody working together, we're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's like one of the young entrepreneurs who opened up today's session was saying, in the midst of this uncertainty, but choosing rather to embrace all this uncertainty with a spirit of gratitude, a more optimistic tone in addressing some of the challenges. Bernardo, final thoughts to you, to some of the social partners, the investors, the donor community that you'd like them to walk away with for today?
As you know, we are now moving forward to implement LKDF2. And the idea basically is that all departments of UNIDO deal with education, deal with capacity building, and we have a lot of experiences and knowledge sharing. What is very important that we mainstream LKDF across the UNIDO technical departments, so that we have a communication platforms to help public-private platforms, so that we can avoid duplications. We have this LKDF to internalized as an interdepartmental platform, so that we can use this as best practice to serve all UNIDO projects as best practice. We expect an expansion of LKDF. of what has been done so far in order to foster new partnerships, target new industrial sectors, contribute to innovating future-oriented skills, to address the future of work, and to address in full the market system development approach. We are working in two main chapters on partnership with great companies, but also with institutions. One side is to plan to develop a systemic virtual platform to use for skills development programs based on latest IT technologies and didactical tools. On the other hand, we are looking into monitoring and evaluation tool to impact our programs and to have a digital impact assessment. The pandemic has underlined the need to urgently promote digitalization, inclusivity, gender equality, and sustainability worldwide. That is what UNIDO sees as one of the main challenges for future of our planet. Jobs, industries, products, services, and at large economies need to be adjusted and be planned to address these issues. Skills development and training, as well as what the WEF calls the reskilling revolution, will be at the core of that process. In that regard, it is important so that the private sector is fully involved to ensure that these programs, incentives and policies promoted by governments and public institutions are really demand-oriented. There is an important lesson we have learned from LKDF, and that could be useful to plan the next investments. Modalities exist to successfully promote the demand-oriented skills program aiming at the long-term sustainability. We have heard about development impact bonds, green bonds, social impact bonds, which are additional ways to do that. Finally, robust, evidence-based policy and knowledge recommendations will be necessary to establish the path forward. UNIDO is upscaling its normative capacities with respect to digitalization of manufacturing and its many overspills to the global economy, environment, and society. In terms of policy, we are working extensively to provide cutting-edge knowledge on digitalization to our member states and their respective manufacturing sectors through dedicated outputs such as IDR, Industrial Development Report, the DTA Knowledge Hub, Industrial Analytic Platforms, and ISID working papers. We also cooperate strongly through expert webinars with other multilateral organizations such as ISO to make the latest knowledge available on quality standards, which will be bearing on the success of global efforts to prepare and contain, respond and adapt, and recover and transform, enhancing business resilience and competitiveness during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
As we do wrap up the second day, I hope you guys have had a great time. I hope that you will, let us know certainly how this event can be a lot better for you. And I have thoroughly enjoyed being with you. I'd like to tell you that day 3 tomorrow will be quite a mixture of events. So there'll be a public forum and also a private forum in which those who do have invites will be able to engage. But the opening ceremony rather tomorrow that is taking place at 10 o'clock in the morning will be open to. And I certainly hope that you guys will be able to join in. The LKDF really wraps up what has been a successful event, in my view, so far. But from myself, thank you so much, and I hope to meet some of you guys face to face once this storm blows over in future. I've had a great time being with you. It's goodbye and see you later. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.